A blind lady swinging a sword big enough for Conan the Barbarian seems like a bad idea. But look, this justice has a traditional sword and scales, but no blindfold. Her moon was a lot spiffier than the usual toga, too, but that's besides the point. The implication? Screw impartiality. If things ought to work out as they should, and that's what justice really is all about, the important thing is to look at the situation and yourself and truly see. Mischance infinite roads to knowing. Don't try anything funny, the old man told me. Obviously, he was an amateur. Professionals never tell you not to do anything funny. They let their guns do the talking. He was either saying, geez, it's cold in here, or earthquake, because it was shaking like somebody had slipped in a quarter for the magic fingers. Whatever the problem is, sir, I'm sure we can resolve it, I said slowly and gently. I was standing very, very still, without a pointed gun at me. I believe that when I have my jewelry back. Your jewelry? I started wondering if someone had let Grandpa go off his meds. It was dark at the White Magic 5 and Dime with only a light from a street lamp outside to see by. Yet I could tell the old guy wasn't the jewelry type. He was dressed for a brisk shuffle around the YMCA, not home invasion. Anything more than a plain gold wedding band would have been too foo-foo for the likes of him. Yes, my jewelry, he said. Don't pretend you don't know where it is. There's probably a trunk of the stuff around here someplace. I'm sorry, but really, I haven't run across any treasure chests. I only got here yesterday, though, so who knows? If you just put your gun away, we could start poking around together and maybe... Don't patronize me. He jabbed the gun out toward me. It was too murky to make out the model, but I assumed it was the kind that goes boom and makes holes in things when the trigger's pulled, whether the pull was on purpose or not. Sir, please, I said soothingly. If your jewelry's here, I swear I'll find it for you. But I can't even start looking if I don't know what it is or who you are. Just get Athena down here. She'll tell you who I am. Athena's not available. Busy with another sucker, is she? Well, I don't give a damn. Hey, Athena, get your buns out here this instant or your little friend's gonna have a bullet where her brains used to be. Athena's dead. The old man tilted an ear toward me. There was a hearing aid in it. What did you say? Athena's dead. Huh, you must think I'm senile. Yes. No, I said. I just think you're a little behind on the news. Athena was murdered right here at the White Magic 5 and Dime. They still don't know who did it. I could find a newspaper article about it if you want to see proof. Athena? Dead? The old man said. He lowered his gun and started swaying like a reedy little tree in the breeze. Murdered? I took a hesitant step toward him. Can I help you sit down? There's a couch right over here. He nodded, and I took him by the arm and guided him to the waiting area. I'm Alanis, by the way, I said once I had him settled. Athena's daughter. The man scowled. She never mentioned any daughter. We didn't get along. He kept glaring at me a moment, then decided to believe me. Sorry about this, he said, putting the gun on the coffee table before him. It's just a toy. They keep taking away my guns. I waited for him to go on. They? The aliens? They? The men in white suits? My name's Ken Meldon, he said. I was your mother's fiancé. Mom and the old man must have had a love-hate relationship, which is really the only kind to have with my mother. Love optional. Kenneth Meldon was one of the names on Detective Logan's list. Mom's fiancé? Mom's fiancé had complained to her about the police. A projector word. Light stabbed the darkness. Images appeared. The whole thing played out like a movie in my mind. The kind where you know the ending in 2 minutes. Still, I said, oh my goodness, how did you meet? Once a week for more than a year, Athena Pasalis had donated 2 hours of her time to the Dry Creek Assisted Living Community, which told me that the Dry Creek Assisted Living Community was run by either crooks or fools. But who was I to judge, being a little bit of both myself? Athena did free readings for residents and talked to them about tarot. Naturally, the conversations could get personal. She came to know which residents had family troubles, which had money troubles, which were lonely, which was all of them, which, like Meldon, were widowers. She read my palm and she stole my heart, he said. The jewelry had belonged to my wife. Piece by piece it went to Athena. At first, they were given out of gratitude. Then there were shows of affection. Eventually, after Athena turned up both the lovers and the Two of Cups during the reading, Meldon offered her an engagement ring. The Two of Cups? I answered. Yeah, that was the clincher, Meldon said, and he carried on with his story without any further explanation. I'll have to think about it, Ken, Athena had said when he proposed. Can I keep the ring in the meantime? I like how it feels on my finger. Of course. So Athena thought about it, and thought about it, and thought about it, and each time she came she was wearing the ring, though it seemed thinner now, with a smaller setting. And hadn't the band been silver? Meldon couldn't be sure. His eyesight wasn't what it used to be, and he never paid much attention to jewelry anyway. It all looks the same to me, he said. Then one day another resident, an old man, the old man called him, let Meldon in on a secret. He and the pretty lady with the blonde hair and the weird cards, they were engaged, or would be soon anyway. She was still thinking about it. The next time Athena came to Dry Creek, Meldon demanded the jewelry back. What jewelry? Athena said. The jewelry I gave you. My wife's brooches and pins and oh, you know what I'm talking about. The jewelry. I don't know what you're talking about. But you're wearing Judith's ring right there on your finger. This? I've had it for years. I have to say I'm very disappointed, Mr. Meldon. I thought we were friends. And then you go and accuse me of stealing. I don't know if I should come here anymore. She didn't. And when Meldon started telling people about his doomed affair with a fortune-telling gold digger, no one believed him. Not even the old man who claimed she was engaged to him. He could barely remember who Athena was, or who Meldon was, or so he was himself. So he went to the police, I said. Meldon nodded. They said they didn't believe me either. Sons of bitches. They never liked me 'cause I stand up for my rights. Uh-huh. The old guy's story wouldn't have any aliens after all. They'll just keep taking away your guns, I said. Yes, and I used to have dozens. A real collection. But take out one of these cases to show some punk who's messing with your mailbox, or a dumb bastard who thinks he can drive past your house playing his music so loud it rattles the windows, and whoops, there goes the Second Amendment. And then when my kids moved me into Dry Creek, they wanted the whole bunch. Well, I didn't give them up without a fight. I'm sure you didn't. So the police wouldn't help you, and today you decided to get the jewelry back yourself. That's right. I heard of some staff at the home whispering about her, and I thought they were laughing at me, and it made me so mad I walked right out and went to the sporting goods store and bought myself that pea shooter. They wouldn't sell me the real thing, so I was too agitated. Can you believe it? In America, in Arizona. Anyway, I got what I could and I came here. That was a lot of walking for an old man, let me tell you. But I just had to see Athena again. For Meldon squeezed his eyes shut and searched for the word he wanted. Closure, I suggested. The old man's eyes popped open. What the hell is that? He said. No, I just wanted your mother to do the right thing. Give me back my wife's jewelry and admit she done me wrong. Well, I'm afraid it's too late for an apology from her, but we'll see about the jewelry if I come across it. I'll let you know. Oh, you will, huh? So I should just crawl back into my little hole and wait for you to bring me what's mine out of the goodness of your heart? Exactly, I said. Come on, I'll give you a lift. I had to pick up some burritos anyway. Meldon glowered at me. Or we could just have the police drive home, I said. I'm sure they're looking for you by now. All right, all right. The old man tried to push himself up off the couch. He didn't make it. I took his hands and pulled him to his feet. A prime suspect he was not. He yanked his hands away and started shuffling towards the door. Don't you want that, I asked. I pointed to the air gun he left on the coffee table. He didn't even look back. "They'd just take it from me," he said. Before I followed him out, I noticed two pairs of feet on the stairs at the back of the building. Clarice and Cece had been sitting on the steps, eavesdropping. I wonder how long they've been there. I wonder if they'd seen the old man pointing a gun at me. I wonder if they'd hoped that he'd pull the trigger. It was a short drive to Dry Creek Assisted Living Community. On the way, I thought of Detective Logan's list again. There's only one person left on it to track down. "Does someone named Victor Castellanos live at Dry Creek?" I asked Meldon. "No." "Damn." A block went by. "There was a Mrs. Castellanos, though," Meldon said. "She used to come to all of Athena's talks, same as me." "There was a Mrs. Castellanos? Past tense? Meaning she's passed on?" "You mean died?" "No. She moved out, not long after Athena stopped coming around, too." "Do you know her first name?" "What do I look like? A phone book?" Another block went by. "Lucia," Meldon said. I didn't pull into the Dry Creek parking lot. Instead, I stopped on the street just outside the entrance. "It'll probably be best if you didn't tell anyone I brought you back," I said. "We don't want to answer a lot of questions about what you were up to and why, right?" "Yeah, I suppose so." "Do you need help getting out of the car?" "No." Meldon tugged on the handle a few times. The door didn't open. "Yes," he said. In the time it took me to walk around to his side of the car and open the door, he started crying. "I'm sorry," he said. "I was just thinking about the Two of Cups and all the things Athena used to say. It was our card." "I understand. Or I meant to, anyway, later. Mad as I was at your mother, there was a crazy part of me that actually thought we might patch things up. Me and my wife used to fight all the time, hurt each other in a million mean little ways. There was love there, though. I guess I hoped it might be the same with Athena. That makes me an old fool, doesn't it?" "No," I said, "not at all." Meldon wiped his eyes with the back of his hands, then let me help him to his feet. All right, I'm good now," he said, steadying himself with the door. I let go. He gazed off at the Dry Creek Assisted Living Community, a long white building with only one story. It looked nice enough, to me at least. Meldon seemed in no hurry to get back. "You say your mother was murdered?" he said. "That's right. They still haven't caught the killer." The old man gave his head a weary shake. "Maybe she had another fiancé." He started walking away. He was moving slowly, even by his standards. I was worried he might trip and fall in the parking lot, so I stayed and watched him until he'd gone inside. I had to wait a long, long time. Cece didn't stick around for her carne asada. When I got back to Mom's place, Clarice's scoffy friend had gone. "It's a school night. She couldn't hang out here forever," Clarice said with a shrug. She took a bite out of her vegetarian burrito. "So who was that banging on the door?" "You didn't hear me talking to Mr. Meldon?" "Who?" "It doesn't matter. I took a bite of my own burrito. It was cold." "So, what did Mr. What's-his-name want?" Clarice said. "He was selling Girl Scout cookies. Hey, you know what? I've been wondering. I was going through my mother's clothes." I noticed. Clarice looked pointedly at the turtleneck and chinos I was wearing. "And I see she was down to a size 2, I went on. "My mom was never a 2. How did she do it?" "Oh, she went on some crazy diet about 4 months ago. Yogurt and cheese and fruit and nuts. I told her she looked fine already. She always did. But of course, what I said didn't matter. After a while, she got so skinny, even I was saying, 'Jesus, Athena, get yourself a Big Mac.'" "How did it affect her mood?" "She put us both on Atkins diet when I was like 12, and it turned her into a real zombie. She stumbled around glassy-eyed for months. Then one day she just said screw it and drove to the nearest Pizza Hut, and that was that." "Yeah, it was kind of like that again. She looked tired a lot. There were a few days she didn't even open the shop at all, and that never used to happen no matter how sick she was. She'd rather give 20 people the flu than miss out on a day's cash." I nodded. I bought it. For once, Clarice wasn't evading, dodging, or snowing me. She really had no idea Athena had been dying. That sounds like Mom, I said, smiling in a pseudo-wistful, oh, that wacky lady kind of way. No sale for me. Clarice furrowed her brow, frowning, and I knew that she knew that I knew something she didn't. She wasn't going to ask me about it directly, though. She spent enough years with my mother not to do something as straightforward and sincere and boring and dumb as that. She was really something, wasn't she? She said. That she was. A real original. Yep. One of a kind. I certainly hope so. Clarice gave me a full-on scowl now. Why do you think she never talked about you? She said. Not one mention in all the years I knew her. It was like you didn't exist. I shrugged. We didn't part on good terms. Why not? She wanted me with her. I had to change her mind. What does that mean? It means I made things unpleasant. Why? You couldn't just leave? Move out or run away or whatever? My mother wasn't someone you could just run away from, so I made sure she wouldn't want to find me. But then she did, supposedly, after all those years. Suddenly she was thinking of you, and not long after that she was dead and you got everything. Weird, huh? Utterly frackin' unbelievable, I said. What about you? What about me what? Didn't you ever want to get away from her? I know what she could be like, the kinds of things she could expect of someone. I don't know what you're talking about. Really? Then you can count yourself lucky. It sounds like you never really knew my mother at all. I knew her better than you. That's why I can't understand why she gave you the house and the car and whatever else. You keep calling her mother and mom, but until a few days ago you didn't care if she was alive or dead. I care that somebody killed her. What's that supposed to mean? I wish certain people wouldn't act so cagey when I ask questions. Oh yeah? Because you're so open and honest yourself. How crazy not to trust you. That shut me up. I don't mind when other people are right. I just don't like it when they're so right about me. Clarice glared at me. This much she wasn't hiding. She hated me. It almost felt like she was daring me to throw her out. I was about to give her a touche when she picked up her plate and stood. I've got homework to do. See you later. She walked to her room and closed the door. I finished my dinner with the infinite rose to knowing for company. I had homework to do too. It had been the lovers and the Two of Cups that had convinced Ken Meldon he and my mother had a very long, happy future ahead of them. The lovers needed no explanation. The Two of Cups, aka the Two of Chalices, did. Then I saw it. Oh yeah, Josette Berg had turned it up when she read for me the day before. Her reaction, more or less. Ooh la la. It was easy to see why. The hovering bat lion I still didn't get, but the couple and their big gulps was obvious. A man and a woman face each other offering what they have to share. This is a hookup, or the beginning of a beautiful friendship, as Miss Chance put in her book. According to her, the Two of Cups is all about partnerships commence and the nurturing of fruitful symbiosis. For someone who threw in references to Bugs Bunny and Conan the Barbarian, the woman sure could be pretentious. I could understand the appeal of the card, especially to someone like Meldon. The man had lost his two true loves, his wife and his guns. He was totally alone. What did he have to cling to, if not some companionship and a carefully cultivated dream of new romance? Smooth one, Mom. For someone with no soul, you sure knew how to mess with other people's. Of course, here I was thinking I was the soulful one, the human one, and I was more alone than my mother had been. After I'd made my escape, she picked up a replacement daughter. Somehow or the other, I don't know how nurturing or fruitful it had been, but at least she and Clarice did seem to have some kind of symbiosis. Yet if Anthony Grandy suddenly popped in to take me out, nobody would miss me but my boss back at the call center. And that would be because our sales team probably wouldn't make its quota for the month. I didn't even have any pets to leave starving when I didn't come back. I was a cat lady without cats. If I did have a soul, I guess I hadn't figured out what to do with it yet. I studied the Two of Cups again. The more I looked at it, the more thoughtful the man looked, kind of cranky. Maybe he didn't like what was in his cup. Maybe he was pissed because his gal pal was reaching out to take it. Maybe he had a rough childhood. Yet there he was, anyway, commencing a partnership, nurturing a symbiosis, hooking up, connecting. If he could do it, so could I. Maybe.